Spirit Sports Consultants presents our weekly NFL picks. This week features some really great matchups. Here with more details, we turn it over to our analyst team. Gentlemen, what do we have for the week?
Thank you for the intro. And this week, we truly believe there are three potential conference championship previews. We're not saying that's what the matchups will be. But these games easily could be a preview of conference championship games. The Dolphins and the Chiefs, Cowboys and the Eagles, especially with the 49ers' recent struggles. And then we got the Bills and the resurgent Bengals. I don't know if there was a more impressive performance yesterday than what the Bengals did on the road to the 49ers. It's clear that Joe Burrow is back and there once again, despite their record, a threat in the AFC. Let's start with the Titans and the Steelers. At the time of this recording, we're not sure the status of Kenny Pickett's injury. It looked pretty serious, though. I'd be surprised if he played next week. The Titans' rookie quarterback, Will Levis, put on quite a show, teaming up with DeAndre Hopkins for 3 touchdowns and just throwing the deep ball very well. But we think Pittsburgh at home, regardless of who's playing quarterback, is going to play that ridiculously good defense, stymie, especially a rookie quarterback, slow him down a little bit, and take the primetime game 21-17. We'll go with the Steelers here. Dolphins and the Chiefs, and as a fan of offensive football, who isn't? We got to look forward to this game. It's being played in Frankfurt, Germany. The Dolphins had a good game yesterday against New England, beating them by 14 points. The Chiefs struggled against the Broncos. I heard the announcer describe it as kind of a trap game, and I think it was. They really weren't prepared for the Broncos. I think they were doing what I call as a look-ahead game, looking forward to this matchup with the Dolphins. Statistically, the offenses are fairly even, with the Dolphins having a slight edge, but from the experience and trust factor, you have to give Mahomes the edge slightly. Defensively, the Chiefs have the edge, and that's why I'm going to give them the slight 27-24 pick. Watch Jalen Ramsey closely, though. He's already impacted that defense to a positive. Let's see if he can do more against Mahomes. Vikings at the Falcons. Vikings coming off a very nice win over Green Bay, but what's the status of Kirk Cousins? Had to leave the game. I'm not sure what the status was. Watched the game, but wasn't sure exactly why he left. Atlanta, who's going to quarterback here? Based on the second half performance with Taylor Heineke and what Desmond Ridder has done thus far to date, I have to go with Heineke here. If they do that with their running game, their pass defense, like the Falcons here at 23-20, maybe a little higher if Heineke plays. We'll wait for that announcement later in the week. We just don't have as much faith in Ridder with his turnover issues. And before we continue, if you would, just join our channel, and if you like this video or find it useful, like it and then subscribe. We provide weekly NFL picks, highlights, and sports travel. Thank you. And to recap Week 8 so far, we're 11-3 with the Monday night game still to go. We like the Lions in that one. Tough losses. We lost with the Texans and the 49ers. Not sure what's going on with that 3-game losing streak. To us, Brock Purdy did not look right. Probably shouldn't have played. But so far, so good, 11-3. So please subscribe. We will provide these updated grids each Friday if you subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Seattle at Baltimore. Seattle having to go all the way from the Pacific Northwest to the East Coast to face Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Love this statistic. Lamar Jackson is now 16-1 against teams from the NFC. We can't see that changing here. We think the Seahawks, although 5-2, have a lot of things to work on. Geno Smith did not look in sync with the receivers, and even though they beat Cleveland, they really should not have. Cleveland committed an unfortunate turnover, kind of a lucky fluke bounce within the final 2 minutes of the game. So for this one, we'll go with this. No, wrong bird. We're going to go with the Ravens in this game. We think Lamar is going to be too much. We take the Ravens here 27-17 over the Seahawks. Arizona and Cleveland here are two teams coming off a loss that both played exceptionally well. Cleveland, as we just noted, really should have won the game at Seattle. And then Arizona, they were just facing a much better team, but they hung in there. Didn't quit till the end. We're looking at Cleveland coming back home. And again, we just love that defense. Jim Schwartz is just phenomenal. We say that every week. Not to be redundant. We like the Dogs here, 27-20 over the visiting Redbirds. Rams at the Packers. I'm going to have to make this one an injury-dependent pick because Matthew Stafford looked like he was severely injured with the thumb. He came back in and played, but to me, when you hurt the thumb on your throwing hand, that's going to impact you. We're going to go with the Rams 24-21 over the Packers if he plays. If not, just don't play this game. We're not impressed with what Jordan Love has been doing with the Packers, so don't play this one. Buccaneers at the Texans. You got Baker Mayfield against C.J. Stroud. For me, I trust C.J. Stroud a little bit more, although Baker has been exceeding expectations pretty much week after week. But we notice a trend with the Buccaneers. They tend to exploit weak defenses. That would include Buffalo because of their injuries. They're weaker than they would have been. Texas has been very consistent all season. We like them taking this in 24-20, especially back home, indoors, controlled conditions. Go with the Texans on this one. Next up, we have the Commanders at the Patriots. And wow, the Commanders for what, 3.5 quarters had the Eagles beaten, and then I don't know what happened. Jalen Hurts and everybody came back to play. Patriots were in it early with the Dolphins, but obviously that offensive attack was simply too much. We do, however, like them going back home to Foxborough. We think that Bill Belichick's defense is going to stymie the Commanders. We have them taking it 24-21. Mac Jones is erratic, but he does tend to play better at home, so we'll go with him under these circumstances. Take the Pats. Bears at the Saints. The Saints offense has been sluggish all year, but they have looked great for the past 5 quarters. Can that continue? We think it can, with Derek Carr finally being in sync with those receivers. Got Alvin Kamara back. They're more diverse. Going to be back home. We like them taking this one 28-21. And oh yeah, they've got a phenomenal pass defense. So with that, we like the Saints over the Bears on this game. Colts at the Panthers, and we already touched on this earlier. We ignored the Panthers' pass defense numbers against the Texans and went with the Texans in our pick. We should have seen that. So with those pass defense numbers against a pass-heavy team in the Colts, especially a quarterback that's turnover-prone, we have to go with the Panthers here 24-21. We're not sure if Bryce Young is quite there yet. He had a pretty good game against the Texans. Still has some improvement to make, but we think there are holes in the Colts defense that can be exploited too, similar to what the Saints did last week. So take the Panthers on this one. Giants at the Raiders. Now, I don't know who had the cheapest loss. Was it the Browns losing to Seattle or the Giants the way they lost to the Jets? I'm going to go with the Giants here. I don't know how you lead for almost the whole game with, 30 seconds left, then lose it after it goes to overtime. I don't think the Giants are going to recover from that one. Going out to Las Vegas is not going to help. Provided Jimmy G doesn't throw 3 interceptions, we think the Raiders should take this one by a touchdown. We'll take them 24-17 in this one. Cowboys at the Eagles, and despite the fact the Eagles are 7-1 and the Cowboys are 5-2, these teams are almost exactly even. In fact, the Cowboys have a better point differential of 77 to the Eagles 52. Looking at their average score, they're the same. Average allowed, the Cowboys are 4 points better. But we like the Eagles here as the home team, 27-24, but watch this one closely. Look for injury reports, see if there's any edge one way or another. These teams are that close. Buffalo at Cincinnati. Which version of the Bills is going to show up? We think we know what version of the Bengals is going to show up. That team looks like they're ready for the Super Bowl after what they did to the 49ers. Truly impressed with that win out in Santa Clara. But for this one, we think that Cincinnati is going to be too much. We like them in a narrow victory, 24-21 over the Bills. Bills still aren't 100% with the defensive injuries, and we just think Burrow and the Bengals are rolling right now, so we'll go with them in this one. And finally, we have the Monday night game, the Chargers at the Jets. Both of these teams coming off victories in Week 8. The Chargers finally put it together on offense, exploiting the Bears' weaker than average defense. The Jets with that lucky win over the Giants, man, if that referee hadn't spotted the ball, they wouldn't have been able to stop it. We like the Chargers here 27-20. We think that their offense is finally starting to click. They need to start getting on a roll if they have any shot of making a wild card or contending for the AFC West. So we'll take the Chargers here.
That's all for this time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to sharing our future videos with you.